everything.
Oh, now we're live. Are we live now?
Oh, we are.
Yeah, we're live. Hey, we're live. That was like, I don't know, weird. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the return of Bitcoin Brief with your host, Tone Vays. And I am joined by the one and only Jimmy Song. Jimmy, thanks for joining me once again on this show. It's been a while.
It has, man. But it's good to be here. It'll be really interesting to talk about some of the things that are happening, and yeah, look forward to informing everybody that's stuck at home, which is pretty much everyone around the world now.
Yeah. So as you guys can see by my backdrop, this is the beginning of my self-quarantine isolation. I spent all morning today shopping for meat, and thank God I had a few rolls of toilet paper because that you can't find anywhere apparently. But for some crazy reason.
You got to upgrade to a bidet, man. That's what you got to do, and take showers after every poop or something.
Well, but like I said in my tweet, Jimmy, you and I are pretty much carnivores, and we barely need any because like you're absorbing everything you eat because there's no waste.
Yeah, this is true. This is true, and it's one of the nice things about about having this.
Wait, did I lose you?
I think I'm around. Okay,
right.
Yeah.
All right. Oh God, listen, we're already stuck at home. If the internet starts to go out, everyone's in serious trouble. Here's the thing. I mean, I've been going around all morning. Like, people cannot be any nicer. Like, everyone is really nice to each other. Like, you see all of these videos, how people are fighting in stores and stuff. I didn't see anything like that, not even close. All I've seen is everyone's like understanding and, respectful. Even like driving around, like people aren't driving like idiots.
Yeah, I think in general, people realize just how crazy things are, and like it's like messing with their mental model a little bit.
All right, let's jump to some stories. I don't remember the last time we did the show. Did we cover the maker die and the whole DeFi nonsense? Because that's hilarious.
We covered some of it. I mean, there's more updates to that, but yeah, I mean, we could definitely talk about this because this has been absolutely insane.
Yeah. So some really funny posts. So just as a very quick summary, I mean, it's very, very simple. The way the make or die stupidity works is basically you lock up a bunch of your Ethereum because for some reason you think it actually has a future and you want to hold on to the value of that Ethereum, and you get 60% of the dollar value of that Ethereum at lockup, I guess, in US dollars or in the make or die stable coin, which has zero decentralization, by the way. It's all it's all made by people on a computer screen. There's no decentralization involved there. And you get 60% of that make or die's lockup of, you lock up your Ethereum in a smart contract, and I use the term very loosely. And you get 60% of like dollars, and you can use those dollars to buy something. And I've watched a presentation on this in South Africa as well. And people see it as like, well, free money, because if Ethereum, say, goes to zero, let's say you lock up $100,000 worth of Ethereum, and you get $60,000 to go buy, some kind of property. And then Ethereum goes to zero, you get to keep your $60,000, free and clear, no problem. You don't owe anybody any money. That's I guess the good side of it. But if that happens, you're still out $40,000, right? Like, you could have sold that Ethereum for $100,000 and do the same thing. Now, the hope is that your Ethereum would go up in value, and then you can repay this loan and still have, $100,000 worth of Ethereum. Now, both of those are the two spectrums of possibilities. Here's what actually happened. When the market crashed, Ethereum dipped. The people that are in full control of MakerDAI, like 2 programmers, sold off all of that Ethereum in order to cover their losses. And then Ethereum goes back up in price, and a person that borrowed $60,000 has the $60,000 but no Ethereum.
Well, it was a little more complicated in this particular case, and it was a confluence of events. And one of the things about this whole story that's hilarious is they're trying to decentralize it, so they have everything locked up in a smart contract, and they do everything on the Ethereum network. So, for example, so when you take out a loan for some MakerDAI in exchange for some Ethereum, the DAI is denominated in dollars, and it's basically a stable coin that's algorithmically kept to a peg to a dollar, mostly through the MakerDAO Foundation, basically trading against itself at various exchanges. But regardless, they, you get that loan and you have a liquidation price. So if your loan to value ratio is too low, then they'll just liquidate your coins and take that money back. Now, part of that liquidation is supposed to have some sort of an auction. So say you locked up 100 Ethereum, you got a loan for $10,000 or something like that, but it goes too low. And now they have to sell off your Ethereum. There's supposed to be some sort of an auction, and it's all done on the Ethereum blockchain. Now, when this happened, the thing that happened was that the Ethereum network was very clogged because everyone, it was going crazy that day, just there was no block space. So the 10 minutes that they had, or the 10 Ethereum blocks that happened, during that time, basically there was only one bid because no one else could get in a bid for the Ethereum. So what ended up happening is that person, of course, bid the lowest they possibly could because they knew this was happening. So they bid zero, and they won the auction for whatever amount, and it was like $8 million worth of Ether that got won in this auction. So these people that locked up their Ethereum, so the liquidation is supposed to pay for whatever it is that, it's supposed to pay for the DAI. So they basically lost all their Ethereum on this. And essentially what the MakerDAO community is now doing is they're supposed to get some percentage. So whenever you get liquidated, you get penalized like 18% or something like that. In order, they realized this was pretty bad, right? Because they literally got zero. So they were like, okay, we should really make these people whole. How are we going to do that? Well, let's just, the 18% goes to the MakerDAO token holders. So they're like, let's just dilute MakerDAO. So that's basically what they're doing is they're printing more money in order to make it so that those people can be made whole. And this is exactly how, the whole MakerDAO ecosystem is so centralized that it's not even funny. This is exactly how a central bank works, right? This is what our government is doing right now is, they have all these shortfalls for all these people. So they're printing money in order to cover them because they made stupid bets that they shouldn't have and put trust in a system that they really shouldn't have. This is why complicated contracts don't work. Because there are all these edge cases and corner cases that you can't foresee, some programmatic badness or network congestion as we had in this particular case. But this is exactly what happens when you have situations where that weren't foreseen. So they're changing all these rules, but clearly this is just not a very good platform, and you're much better off going on BitMEX and leveraging long instead of using something like this.
Yeah, and this is also exactly how DeFi works. We've been saying this for as long as Jimmy and I have been on the air. When it's not Bitcoin, you get all the disadvantages of decentralization without any of the advantages, right? So the maker DAI people have just learned multiple disadvantages of their system. I mean, like the DAO back in the day, and all this other stuff with how your contracts could be hacked. So you have the Ethereum network gets clogged. I hope they're running a node, because if they came up with this idea pretty recently, it's a little hard to download one from scratch. Like, you get all the disadvantages of a blockchain without any advantages, because at the end of the day, you're resorted to the plunge protection team, Federal Reserve style, the printing of money, right? So you're essentially solving the problem that was created by decentralization. Because if your entire project was simply centralized from the start, hey, you give us your crypto, we will lend you the money, and we hold your crypto in multi-sig, and then we manually decide, what the risk parameters are and how to liquidate it. And we have, like preset deals with, let's say, certain funds, with contracts, with like call contracts, put contracts. We're hedging. We're only letting you borrow 60% against your crypto capital. We're only going to accept Bitcoin, maybe accept Ethereum if you think it's stable enough. You could have just taken Bitcoin. You could have hedged it with puts and calls, and you could have made deals with the financial institutions. Hey, if the price dips to so-and-so, do you buy it from us, because we got to cover this loan that we gave? This would have been so much better as a centralized entity.
I mean, not only that, the ridiculousness of this thing like goes even further. So there's a bunch. So that day there were a lot of people just trying to get out of the contract. They couldn't. So they because the Ethereum network was clogged, and as happens in any sort of like liquidity crunch like we had, there were a lot of people that wanted to cover their loans. So what ended up happening was that the Maker DAI, the stable coin, everyone flew to that because they wanted liquidity, and that's basically the version of liquidity. And as a result, DAI had a premium of like 10 to 12%. So in essence, instead of one DAI costing $1, which is what they've been trying to do, it's one DAI costs $1.12. So all of these people that want to cover their loans now have to pay like this 12% premium in order to cover their loans. So which is very frustrating, because like you could have like gotten it out. Now there's a mechanism apparently in there. That's basically it right there. There's a mechanism in there in order to make it so that somebody can arb that out. But the thing is, nobody wants to go into go and fund this thing because they want to stay in cash. And like the people that would normally provide that liquidity, they don't want to do it in case it drops even further, and then they get liquidated, and then they just saw this bug, so they might get liquidated for zero. So all of the Ethereum that they put into all of that would go away. So it ends up being this ridiculous sort of system where like nothing works whenever there are stressors to the system, which is really what you need to like cover for situations like this, and these guys unfortunately do not.
Yeah. All right. So, so that was pretty funny. I don't have any articles on the whole Steemit trying to do a user-activated soft fork. That's another one. I don't have an article. We can probably go over to CoinDesk and find one. You have an update on that, Jamie? I just I did all my research on Steemit 3 years ago, and it was one of the biggest scams I have ever seen, and people still believe in that shit.
Well, so it's kind of hilarious, actually. It reminds me of like how BCH keeps splitting. Essentially what happened was Justin Sun bought the Steem company,
website.
Steem the company. Right?
He bought the Steemit website, which is the only thing that's actually useful in that whole project.
Yeah. So basically, he bought the whole thing, and along with it came a bunch of locked up Steam that he could use to vote. Um, and he wanted to go a certain way. The community didn't like it, so he conspired with CZ and many other people and different that had large amounts of Steam, and they voted together to basically do what he wanted. The community around Steam did not like that. So what they did instead is they are now just going to fork Steam it. They're going to essentially be launching a new coin, kind of like Bitcoin Cash style. They're starting a new token, but it's airdropping to all the current holders of Steam it. Of Steam or Steam Power or Steam whatever. But basically, they're basically taking out from the ledger everything that Justin Sun and all the exchanges own. So basically, they're going off on their own, and apparently, a lot of the Steam devs have gone over to that project. That project is now called Hive, and they're going to go and basically keep going with this currency. I don't know what that means for everybody that has like Steam on exchanges. It sounds like they're just going to kind of get screwed, or I'm not really sure, but it's kind of crazy. Well, okay, so they are getting one Steam for one Hive. So of course, like whenever there's a split, like the price of the thing before the split goes up, and then after the split it goes down. That's exactly what happened to Steam. I think it went up like 30%, and then it came down 30%. So I mean, it's still trading at like 15 cents, which is way below like the $4 that it was trading at a few years ago.
So who's in charge of this nonsense now? Someone has to be in charge.
It's whoever whoever forked it, obviously. I mean, like the prediction that I would make is that they're gonna be like Bitcoin Cash, and they're going to have, like, they're all unified against Justin Sun right now, but then they're going to split and then split again, and then it'll just eventually dilute to nothing. And I mean that seems to be an end to some of these altcoins.
All right. Okay, let's okay, we got one more story, and then we're gonna talk about Bitcoin. So Nathaniel Popper wrote a very detailed piece about the Petro. Now, once again, we've been covering the Petro going back to before you and I had our own YouTube channels, Jimmy. Going back to the World Crypto Network, we covered the Petro, and I never understood why the Petro got any media attention. I mean, we only cover what's in the media. And we always said this is nonsense. There's nothing decentralized about it, and B, like, you have to trust the government of Venezuela, and this was all just complete bullshit. And this talks about how Mr. Jimenez, what's his first name? Shoot, hold on.
I think it's at the top.
It's up here in the beginning.
Gabriel
Jimenez was the lead developer of the Petro, and he did study in the U.S. He was in the U.S. He came to Venezuela in 2016. Not sure exactly why. It doesn't. I don't think it says. It's a pretty long piece, guys. I do recommend you all read it. And like, his family told him, "Hey, don't get involved." But he thought that he would create like a Trojan horse to help the Venezuelan people. But he realized real quick that's not how it works when a dictator tells you to do something for him. And how can people be this naive is my question number one. And to you, Jimmy, and then just like tell us more about it.
Yeah. So Gabriel Jimenez, he's actually like he didn't like the Maduro regime and the Chavez regime before that, and so on. I mean, he's a fairly young person. I think he's in his 20s. So I mean, you could kind of understand his idealism and all that. Basically, he was running a company that was able to hire or that made it so that people outside of Venezuela could hire coders inside Venezuela.
Yeah, he was basically providing cheap coding labor by Venezuelans that can code for developed world, which is a good business actually.
Yeah, an excellent business, and he quickly got into cryptocurrency because, of course, you could get paid, from abroad without all of the.
You know what was interesting about the article? So he said he was keeping his money in U.S. dollars because he understood, hyperinflation, but then he had a problem exchanging those dollars for Venezuelan pesos. And even in the article, it says when you take a taxi in Venezuela, they want like a bank wire. They want like a bank transfer because you can't bring this many bolivars into the taxi.
Yeah, and I mean that's how much printing that they've done. So essentially, what he ended up doing was he started paying his workers and so on with Bitcoin. He got into Ethereum and all that stuff, and essentially, like right around December of 2017, when we were in the middle of that bubble, Maduro basically heard about all this. Apparently, he had watched a couple of documentaries on this stuff, and he decided that this was something that he wanted to do, which was create a new currency. He had his vice president reach out to this guy, and basically they convinced him that like this would be good for the people. He thought it would be a Trojan horse. One of his when he told his employees about it, one of his employees quit on the spot and said, "You know what? Like this is a really bad idea. I'm gonna quit. You really don't want to do this." He ended up working for them and creating some sort of token on top of Ethereum. But then because he got into basically the world of politics at that point, and all of these people like had their own ideas on what he should do or what he should code. It ended up changing 3 or 4 times. They started calling him a traitor. He ended up like almost losing his life. There's all sorts of things going on there. But eventually he made his way back to the U.S. where his father lived. His father is serving like a prison sentence for something completely unrelated, but he's basically trying to get asylum at this point. The whole thing basically is a good way to see why altcoins end up, or how altcoins end up happening. I mean, this one's a more extreme case than most, but you have some sort of like idealistic young coder type, and you have somebody like Maduro, or in the case of altcoins, some fast talking marketing type that convinces the idealistic young coder to go and make something so that they can both change the world in some way. And then, you get slapped hard by reality when you try to implement this stuff. And you find out very quickly that number one, you can't create it. And number two, it doesn't end up what you thought it was. It ends up being just a giant scam. And that's essentially what this whole story basically makes clear, is that you intend it to be one thing and it ends up being something else, and your intentions don't really even matter. And unfortunately, a lot of coders have gone down this road and have created ICOs and things like that for a lot of people that really are, has just made somebody else rich, and for the most part.
Yeah. Oh, I just people are asking. Sorry, guys, I kind of messed this one up. Giacomo will be doing a show tomorrow morning, and Giacomo will join. Jimmy may or may not. Jimmy, how are you looking tomorrow morning?
Probably not, but yeah, we'll see.
All right. So Giacomo will come on tomorrow, and we'll. Now that I'm in quarantine for the next couple of weeks, I think I have enough food. I mostly stacked up on liver because you don't need to eat much of that to get all of your nutrition. Those of you that watched my Twitter videos and my Instagram videos And it's great. Like when I go shopping, and I'm sure like when Jimmy goes shopping, like chicken was sold out. Beef is on the shelves.
Yeah, beef for some reason. Well, I mean, like you know what you can get lots of is like that Beyond Meat stuff. That stuff's like always like there. It doesn't like you'll see the shelves are completely
Yeah, no,
empty of everything else.
I talk about their stock. I refer to it as fake meat.
Yeah, nobody wants the fake meat even in a crisis.
Yeah, guys, hey, read the Venezuela story. This is no different than any other shitcoin. There is not much difference. They're all the same.
Other than the life thing, like you might lose your life if you're working for a dictator. You probably won't, unless I don't know, like Calvin.
Well, again, it depends on the dictator in charge of your coin. If it's Calvin Ayre and Craig Wright, I don't know. It's, it really depends. It really depends on the dictator because they all have a dictator. I'm sure if you're locked up in a cage with Vitalik, you have nothing to worry about. But it all depends on the dictator running your coin.
The only reason you'd be safe from Vitalik is because like you can't see him when he turns sideways. So like, the guy's like so malnourished. I don't know what's wrong with him. But yeah, the whole story is just such a sad commentary on like the whole ICO thing.
Hey, Jimmy, let's talk about a little bit about the Fed. Now, I got this screenshot from, I don't know if you saw this. I honestly, I haven't done enough fact checking on this, but I mean, you can look up the full bill, right?
It's a proposal, and it's from somebody from the House of Representatives. I think it's a Democrat from Michigan or something like that. But essentially, whoever this person is, what they want to do is give everybody a debit card worth $2,000 for every single person in the United States.
Oh no, this is a different bill. This is a different one.
No. But the way to fund it is with the platinum coins. So
I see.
So basically it's funding this program of giving everybody $2,000 and then $1,000 every month for a full year. Now I put out a tweet earlier today about like how much that would cost. $2,000, 300 million people, that ends up being $600 billion with a $300 billion per month thing. And if you look at the early part of the bill, it says for at least 1 year after the coronavirus crisis. So that ends up being something like $3.6 trillion. So despite the $2 trillion in platinum coins that they will be able to do, because of a couple of obscure laws that exist. Basically, what this congressperson wants to do is print $2 trillion and make the Fed, like fund this program. That's not even enough. You're going to have to print like 4 of them. The reason why the Treasury can do that is they can't print gold, silver, or copper coins. And they can't print money because of the Federal Reserve Act. So in essence, and they can't do any smaller denominations than $1 trillion for some other obscure reasons. But basically, they can print $1 trillion platinum coins, and it has to be platinum because it can't be gold or silver. So so this is it's kind of crazy, but like this is the kind of stuff that the government's talking about. Now, the other bill that's in consideration is something like $1 trillion, a couple $1,000 to every adult or something like that. There's another bill, $1,000 per adult and $500 per kid for per month and stuff like that. So like all of these things are going to print like at least $1 trillion. And that includes stuff like bailing out cruise lines and airlines and, like random businesses that are suffering and so on. So, this is going to be a serious amount of money printing, just given that like M2 money supply is of the US dollar is 15.5 trillion as of February. of 2020. So, I mean, you're looking at a monetary expansion on the order of 10-20%.
Well, this is a good thing, though, right?
For a Bitcoin, yeah, everything's a good thing for Bitcoin. It's the amount of dilution we're going to get. There's already like open market operations from the Federal Reserve that amount to $700 billion. That's 500 billion in treasuries, another 200 billion in mortgage-backed securities. So they're starting that program up again. They're also making available dollar swap agreements with other central banks, and it's like a dozen central banks, and it's like 60 billion or 30 billion each. And if you add all that up, that's another 450 billion in US dollars that they're going to print for the other central banks' shitty currency or whatever. So it ends up being like some insane amount of new money that's being printed, and it's to support basically the entire globe at this point. So I did the math like last night, and I think it was something somewhere we're looking at around $3 trillion. On 15.5, that's like 20% worth of M2 money that's being printed. That's more than the bailouts in 2008, and if you add the QE to that, it's going to be roughly from a percentage point of view about the same, because back then 700 billion, but the M2 money supply was around 8 trillion in 2008. But QE was another $1 trillion or so. So I mean, like, the amount of money printing that we're going to see is going to be pretty crazy, possibly unprecedented.
Yeah, and I think we need to do a whole show. I should probably write up a couple of articles, what all of this means for Bitcoin. But just my quick comments. So if the government is going to go into debt, this is the smarter way to go into debt. And I pointed that out in my tweet because prior to this attempt, by the way, I'm sure there is enough stupid people that are buying up platinum right now. They only have to make one ounce coin of platinum. They don't need a trillion platinum coins, guys. It's just,
it doesn't even need to be 1 ounce, man. It could be like 0.1 ounce. It just has to have some content.
Right. It just has to have some platinum in it. Like, this is not a cue to go out and buy platinum, like the fake Zoom ticker that everyone's still buying. Anyway, so let's start there. So this is not going to boost platinum sales, though it might, because people are silly. Now, this is the smarter way to print money, because prior to this attempt, all money that the government printed wasn't actually printed, it was borrowed. And interest continues to accumulate. Right now, we have a $23 trillion national debt. And I don't remember the latest numbers, but a few years ago, it was like 15 or 16 trillion of the 20 trillion was accumulative interest, because the government never pays back the debt. So interest on top of interest on top of interest. So if the government always financed their operations with these $1 trillion platinum coin, then our national debt would be like 80% smaller, because you wouldn't have this interest on top of interest on top of interest.
Well, so the way this whole thing works is it gets into the heart of central banking. The reason why people don't really understand that the Fed is printing money is because they always print money in the form of loans. I tell people that all money is debt for that reason. Every single dollar that you that exists pretty much has been issued by the Federal Reserve in the form of loans. And the way it works is, and the way the scam has worked with the national debt is that the U.S. government just rolls over the debt in the form of new treasuries. It's always new debt. And the thing is, some of those treasuries sell to other central banks, some to the public, and so on. But if there aren't enough people to buy it, the Federal Reserve just buys up whatever isn't sold to everybody. So they basically, it's the equivalent of printing it, except that it's benefiting the members of the federal, the member banks of the Federal Reserve, and they get the interest out of it. So it's this like weird like weird vig that they get out of central banking that happens, and it's basically paying all of those banks, and this is why the whole central banking system is just so evil, and like why things change so much since it came into being.
Yeah, and here's the other comment I want to make, and I'll probably expand on it. Maybe I'll write an article because now I have some time on my hands due to quarantine, or whether I put it on my own blog or maybe some publication will pick it up. We'll see. Is while all this money printing is good for Bitcoin, it's good for Bitcoin very slowly and in the long run. If you really want Bitcoin to skyrocket, the banks would have to limit the amount of money you can withdraw from the bank. So we're talking a Greece scenario where, like, if things start to get really bad in the US in the next couple of weeks, and the banks basically, and there is like a law that comes down that says you can only withdraw a maximum of $100 a day or $60 a day from an ATM machine. That's when Bitcoin will be set for a path to greatness.
Yeah, I mean, but we'll see what the effect is. That's something that we'll see as some of this money printing makes its way over to the consumer arena. But I mean, it's not pretty right now.
All right. Anything else you want to add, Jimmy? I'm sure all of your workshops are canceled, like mine. Are you going to go to the webinar model like I did?
I'm having fun actually coding a lot right now. So yeah, I don't know if I really need to I mean, we're kind of stuck at home, but that means that I'm very productive, like coding and doing other things.
Well,
so I think
I'm about to start trading because like I gotta make money somehow, right? So I'm about to hopefully the market will be open like next week. Real market, now crypto market will be open when it feels like it, apparently, and that's why some people went bust last week. Because at least you know when the traditional market is going to close. You don't know when your exchange is going to stop functioning when it comes to the crypto market. I'd rather take the predictability of the traditional markets. So I'm thinking of going back to trading and getting my trading operation back up and running because it's been years and I kind of miss it.
Yeah, I mean that might not be a bad way to get started. It's I mean there will be opportunities. It's just kind of a weird situation because like the people that are making money are like Amazon and like FedEx and like grocery stores and things like that, and I guess ventilator manufacturers and medical equipment suppliers or something like that.
Yeah, no, I'm setting up calls with like my old trading partners, my old trading friends. We're gonna brainstorm like, hey, when this is over, which industry? Excuse me. That's not good. Which industries are gonna benefit a lot versus which industries are gonna continue to struggle? Because I'm gonna have a plan. I'm not gonna do a lot of short-term day trading. I want to start a more, position trading portfolio. Man, so much that could get done, and there's no sports to watch either. So it's like you're really gonna get down and doing some work.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true too. Is I mean, like apparently, like you can't go to a movie theater, so they're like releasing movies on Amazon now and stuff, and it's man.
When this is over, and eventually this will be over, the whole industry is gonna change. There's a lot to be discussed. Looking forward into the future with this.
Yeah, I no doubt that pretty much everything is going to change, but oh man, it's not going to be pretty.
All right. Anything else you want to say? Floor is yours for a few minutes. I'll glance at price. I might do a price show, later today, late in the evening or something. I don't know.
Well, I'd actually like to look at the price with you and
All right.
ask some questions that
All right, let's do it then.
maybe the people in the chat would ask or something like that. I'm
Okay,
the
so
layperson in there.
so you want to keep an eye on the live chat while I look at the price, and if you see a good question, fire away.
All right. Yeah, let me go to the channel so I can
I can just send you the link on Telegram. Hold on. All right, there's the live chat link.
Okay, great. And I am looking. All right.
Oh, it's the hyperwave one. Okay, so here's the weekly chart.
Oh, you lost your subscription, huh?
Yeah, I'm being a little cheap right now to sign up for it because I honestly don't really need it at the moment. But I'm gonna. I lost it. I want to wait till Thanksgiving. I want to hold off on everything. Like I really need to buy a new laptop because like 3 of my keys aren't working. So I don't know how long I can hold out in replacing all my stuff. And people are making fun of me. So did you see the video I put up on Twitter about what's in my refrigerator?
I didn't look at it. I saw. I assume it's just mostly meat, but yeah.
It's all meat and fish with some berries and a little and some citrus fruit. Basically, kiwis, a few oranges, lemons, avocados, a bunch of berries, and everything else is meat and fish. But in my fridge, in the meat and fish section, I said it. Yes, those are oysters, and yes, that's caviar, like a package of caviar, because they're incredibly nutritious, and I was willing to spend the money. And people on Twitter were making fun of me. Can't afford a new laptop, but he's buying oysters and caviar.
Yeah, well, I mean, you are Russian. I mean, that's kind of part of it,
There's
isn't it?
actually a good deals on them. They're not as expensive as you think. Like I get $1 per oyster, and they're fresh right out of the Atlantic Ocean.
It's not bad. That's not bad. All right.
All right. So here's the weekly chart. This is a crazy candle. Today is we're coming close to the end of the week. It is a promising candle. A Bitcoin price is holding up well, but a lot of it is going to depend on what happens on Monday. At the moment, I am completely neutral on a weekly chart. Honestly, I'm going to trust the sequential here, and I'm going to stick with a bearish sequential count. Here's your, here's your positive news. You're back above the 200-week moving average. That's pretty much the only positive. There was a strong bounce. I mean, we went from 3.8 thousand all the way to 7.1. So that's almost 100% increase quickly. We've now pulling back, however, and I'll have more to say when the candle closes. But the way it is now, you have 2 big wicks at the bottom and at the top. And it comes down to which wick is bigger. And if they're about the same, I'm going to trust the wick that came second. And unfortunately, the wick at the top came second, which would make me more bearish than bullish. It's all about the momentum going into the end of the candle. And the momentum at the end of this candle is down because of this big wick coming down. Now, we will see when this candle closes. So tomorrow night, we'll have a much bigger picture. At the moment, I'm pretty neutral on a weekly scale with a bearish leaning view. All right, let's go to the daily. So the daily, this is basically that candle that created the big wick at the top. The bullish trade, which I tweeted out and talked about on videos as I was leaving Africa, was going long on a green 2 above a green 1. Now, the daily chart is the complete opposite of the weekly chart. The weekly chart is on a red 4. The daily chart is on a green 4. But they're literally opposites, because while this is on a red 4 sequential, it has a strong bullish, shorter term rally. The daily is the opposite. It's on a green 4, telling you that you are bullish based on sequential. And if you entered the trade properly, you're still in a pretty profitable trade. But over the last 1.5 candles, you have a lot of strong momentum down. So this being a green 4, but it's not a very strong green 4 because in a candle or two, you can flip over. Okay, so the daily chart is the complete opposite of the weekly chart, which is what's making me very, very neutral right now. So even though I am neutral with a slight bearish lean on a weekly chart, I am neutral with a slight bullish lean on a daily chart, even though yesterday at market close, I was a lot less confident in Bitcoin than I am now, because yesterday when the market was closing, Bitcoin was falling below 6K. And honestly, I expected it back in that 5.5 vicinity by now, but it's holding up well above 6,000. But right now, I would not have a Bitcoin position. I have absolutely no idea which direction is going to go. Everyone is probably waiting for the stock market to open and seeing if I heard that like yesterday, there were more cases of more positive cases of Corona in New York City than all of America a week ago. So it's actually escalating pretty bad. Okay, so here's the breakout out of this triangle. So see right here, we already flipped over. This is a 12-hour chart. I haven't looked at a 12-hour chart much, but if the daily chart follows suit from the weekly chart, this is where things start to get bearish. When this candle is over in 2 hours. So if in 3 hours from now, the price of Bitcoin goes below this line, that activates a short trade on the 12-hour chart. That line is at $6,040. Now, the 12-hour chart isn't exactly, the go-to for trading, but the concept is the same. If the daily chart does this, if tomorrow you get a red 1, and all you need to get a red 1 tomorrow is a close below 6,200 or 6,180 to be exact, then
wouldn't that be in 2 days, Tone? That's like 4 candles back is the 1.
Well, on tomorrow's candle, right? So tomorrow's candle, 4 candles back will be the 2.
I thought it would be I thought the 9 compared on the 5.
I'm sorry, you're
so
right. I can't count today. You're right.
Yeah. So it would be two days from now.
Yeah, 2
or
days
Monday.
from now. There's no way you're gonna get a red 2, and this is what makes it challenging to enter trades with sequential. So this is where the 12-hour chart could come in handy. Also, this is currently at an 8, but it's going to be very tough to get a 9.
Well, it was a red 1, but the 4 and the 8 are very, very close right now. So it just flipped from a red 1 to a green 8.
It's flipping back and forth. So the 12-hour could be your, canary here on the daily chart, because Jimmy's right. Getting that a red 1 tomorrow is going to be very difficult. And if you do get a red 1 tomorrow, it kind of kills your trade because you're going to be entering it very late. So I probably would pay attention to the 12-hour chart here. It can really lead you by a good percentage. We're already at an 8, where I doubt we would get the 9. You'd have to rally all the way to 6,700 to get the 9. So you probably won't get it. So the next candle will be a red 1 on the 12-hour if it's not a red 1 on this candle. And then you're going to activate the bearish trade. I am not very confident in Bitcoin right now. Also, keep in mind the following, that if the government does limit how much money you can withdraw out of the bank or the ATMs in the form of cash, they may or may not initially limit the amount of money digital dollars you can transfer out of the bank. So here's the scenario here. If the government puts in cash withdrawal limits, people like me and Jimmy, we will go crazy tweeting about move your money into Bitcoin because no one can stop you from withdrawing whatever you want. And it's not going to be just us. It's going to be pretty much everyone in the crypto space. A lot of them are going to be scamming you into their shit coins, but you get the idea. So until the government limits how much money you can transfer from your bank to, say, Coinbase to buy Bitcoin, which I believe they will. So if the government sees that a lot of people are now moving money into Bitcoin digitally, You can move it to Kraken. You can move it to Coinbase. You probably want to start setting those accounts up now than later, right? Because it takes weeks sometimes to get KYC'd with these places. And if the government limits the amount of money you can withdraw from a bank, you may not have enough time to get KYC'd with these Bitcoin institutions because that will be your only option. So you'll need to KYC and you won't get it done in time. And if the banks see all these transfers of fiat digital money into Kraken and Coinbase or whatever, they're going to stop it. They're going to like lock down your account. And if that happens, Bitcoin price is going to take a hit because there's going to be huge supply of Bitcoin because now you can use your Bitcoin to buy shit. But there's not going to be necessarily enough demand for Bitcoin if the government, especially US and European governments, are preventing you from moving that money into buying Bitcoin. And that and Bitcoin price could suffer. So keep that in mind. So the 4-hour chart is kind of neutral, not really doing much. Hey, Jimmy, let's talk about mining. The Bitcoin dominance is not rising that fast, which is puzzling me a little bit. I really thought Bitcoin would do well against shitcoins. So did we have the difficulty adjustment down, or we're about to have it?
Oh, we're about to have it. So let me see what the actual block number is. Let's see. We're at 622,458. So we're about 7,500 blocks from the halving, and it happens every 2016 blocks. So we had one about 500 blocks ago. We're going to have one in about 1,500 blocks. So we're about a quarter of the way through the current difficulty adjustment period.
Okay, so we are going to have an adjustment down, and the mining, obviously the hash rate is suffering here. What's your view on it? What do you think? What do you think of the whole mining situation right now?
Well, from what I hear, the efficiency of the current generation of miners is really, really good, and it's pretty profitable as long as you can amortize the capital cost of the actual miners. So, I mean, and I think it's generally pretty good. The demand for energy, I imagine, has I don't know. I'm guessing it's gone down because there isn't as much manufacturing, but. And it's hard to say, given the current state of things. Maybe people are using more electricity because they're at home, but at the same time, they're not going out, and those places are not really using electricity. So hard to say, but I suspect that electricity is probably a little bit cheaper right now. But you know, it's you lock into these contracts like months ahead of time, so you're probably not seeing those savings necessarily right away.
All right, I got a couple of comments in the live chat that I want to address. One of them has to do with food. Why not frozen fruit instead of fresh fruit that goes bad in a few days? I need my freezer space for way more nutritious and useful things like meat. So I'm not going to waste my freezer space for fruit. Also, frozen fruit has nowhere near the kind of nutrition that fresh fruit has. So it just completely kills the nutrition of that fruit. So I bought enough fruit for like maybe a week. And once that fruit runs out, that's it. And I'll just stick to meat after that. So no frozen fruit is going to take up my valuable freezer space. Jimmy, your comments?
Yeah, I don't eat fruit at all, so I don't really have much to comment on. I think it's mostly sugar on most fruit anyway, because they've been bred by farmers to be sweeter and sweeter since about 10,000 years ago. So yeah, there you go.
Okay, so someone says, do you only use ascending triangles on 4-hour or 1-hour scale? No, absolutely not. I use triangles on all time scales, and the larger your time scale, the more relevant the triangle is. It's just that the ascending triangle on the 4-hour was clear. They're drawing that same triangle on a higher level time frame wouldn't look as good. So Your triangles work on all time frames. People are saying they're already being limited. Bitcoin,
that's what I've been hearing. Bank of America, I think, limits your cash withdrawals to like 1,000. It used to be 3,000, but they recently changed it. I mean, it might be in preparation for negative interest rates. Who knows?
Yeah, and Canada is apparently already limiting how much money you can send to buy Bitcoin. So it's already starting, guys. It's already starting. Someone is asking, meat is nutritious? Question mark. I thought fruits and vegetables are way more nutritious than meat. No, meat is way more nutritious than fruits and vegetables. Let the animals eat the vegetables and you eat the animals. I don't eat vegetables. I still eat fruit. I don't eat vegetables. I mean, like, we're not even going to talk about breads or pasta or rice or any grains or beans. I mean, that's not even in consideration. I eat 80 to 90% meat. I still eat some selective fruit, mostly berries and like kiwis and avocados, like very, very nutritious selective fruit. I don't eat any vegetables. I'm trying to get myself cut off from nuts, and I'm trying to get myself cut off from dairy as well.
Yeah, I haven't been eating dairy. Man, that's been hard, but
yeah, no, it's hard.
But I feel better.
I mean, I have ghee and I have butter. Like, I don't even really count butter as dairy because I just, like, put on a frying pan to cook on for taste. So I don't think that really counts as dairy. But I don't drink milk. But I tried not to buy cheese in my isolation. But like, you know what? If I'm gonna spend a month at home, I'm gonna want some cheese. Like, that's the hard one. Okay, so I don't really want to talk about traditional markets, but the way the S&P closed on Friday, it looks ugly, guys. I mean, I'm praying that it'll start going up because I'm kind of positioned with some trades. I took on a few trades. Silver. Oh, I didn't take the Tesla trade, but I took on a few trades off of these nines. All right, come on, what's going on here? There we go. I took on a few trades. One of them was silver, actually. Silver gave me a beautiful 9 buying opportunity. So I took the silver trade right there off the 9. And
man, silver's cheap.
Yeah.
What happened?
Oh no, we got crushed. Check out the gold to silver ratio, Jimmy. It is something to watch. Look at that.
Yeah, 119. To think in like the 1890s, they were arguing for 16 to 1.
Well, it was down to 30 to 1 in 2011.
Yeah.
And they weren't arguing. Back in the 1800s, it was pegged at 17 to 1.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing about silver that Safety always says is that it's the original shitcoin.
Yeah. And that's pretty clear now. Yeah, so I don't really. Under Armour was another one that I feel got way oversold here. People are still going to need clothes, so I don't understand why Under Armour fell so much.
Because nobody's playing sports or watching sports, man. So bad. Like no March Madness, nothing.
I know. While that is true, that all of that is coming back. Sports are coming back. So and this got sold. I mean, this fell more than by percentage, like as much as the airlines. That's a little bit unexpected for me. But Tilray was another one. People are going to keep smoking. So
yeah, anything addictive that's
yeah. And then Uber had a big rally, but I wasn't in the Uber because the 9 didn't came a little too early. But my Tilray trade, Tilray went up really nicely off the 9, and then it pulled back. So again, a stock that I don't know how it can go any lower. This was a $300 stock. I know they had some issues with lawsuits and everything, but this was a $300 stock last year, and now it's $250. Well, what's
Yeah, I mean, I wonder about some of these stocks, right? Like, because what business can you really run right now if you're not like Walmart or Target or like, some grocery store or something, or maybe Amazon? There really aren't that many businesses that are doing more business than they were before. I like people aren't traveling, they are not spending.
Oh, no, no, I agree. I agree. But some of these companies, like GoPro was
Mhm.
another one that I am currently in as a trade. And a lot of them, it's for something like GoPro. Yes, no one is going outside, but this is a $2 stock. I don't normally go cheap, but I think there's going to be a lot of like something like GoPro has a lot of intellectual property, and someone is
Mm.
going to buy them out for that intellectual property, the way Fitbit got bought out recently.
Mhm.
This is what happened with Fitbit. It was down to like 250, and then it got bought out for $7.
Mm.
So I see a similar future for GoPro.
Yeah, their patent portfolio would probably uh, be useful to Apple or Android or something like that. And I don't know, they're not really suing each other as much as they were, but
Right.
that's a potential buyer.
And something like, well, Starbucks itself may not do very good, but coffee should be doing just fine. Yeah, so there's opportunities. I'm going to spend the next couple of weeks looking for other opportunities. I just got to hope that the market stays open so I can actually trade. But if the market gets shut down for a few weeks, then that would be very interesting, because then I can actually get some real work done.
That's a lot of different stocks there. I mean, Apple made like a huge announcement with all of their MacBooks and stuff like that, and they're still suffering.
Yeah, the
That's
Apple
crazy.
chart looks very, very bad here. That is a
Yeah.
bad looking Apple chart with that last candle. I think Netflix is doing okay because everyone's going to be buying Netflix now because they're staying at home. There
Mm.
are industries that could benefit from a big shutdown. Netflix is one of them.
Yeah, I think ATVI, Blizzard Activision, like that's definitely in there. It's
ETBI,
further down, underfit.
I have it on. Oh, there it is. No, I don't like that candle, but look at that beautiful top on a 9 combo 13.
Mm, yeah. Well, I mean, they do video
Oh,
games,
hey,
so.
you know what I was going to take a look at? Man, hey, guys, I need help from the live chat here. So, TradingView added coronavirus data that we can put the sequential on. Hey, guys, give me a ticker. I don't know what the ticker is. So, the live chat is a few minutes
Well,
delayed.
can't you just like type in Corona and it'll figure it out?
Probably. Corona.
Corona Corporation.
I wonder how they're doing.
Oh, they bounced. I don't know who the Corporation is though. I'm pretty sure that's not.
Oh, here we
Oh,
go.
no, well, that's a stock though.
No, 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 no.
Oh yeah, deaths. Wow.
Let's take a look.
So you're gonna use the sequential on this, huh?
Yeah.
Well, it's only been going up, so this is all deaths around the world, I guess.
Well, it's only going to be. So, is this cumulative def or def per day?
I think it's cumulative.
Because if it's
total.
cumulative, then it doesn't help because because it can only go up, right?
Yeah. It's deaths per day, I think would be better.
Yeah, it's deaths per day is what you need. I mean, cumulative deaths is not going to be very useful in any kind of analysis.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's def total. So this is wow. You know what? I think this video is gonna get banned by YouTube if I keep going with this.
People want to know about these things.
I know, but they need data on def.
Confirmed US. So these are all cumulative, it looks like. None of them are like you can look at the recovered total, for example.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can go with the recovered total. No, but that's also only gonna go up. That's not
Yeah,
gonna go
yeah.
down.
These are all cumulative stats. Can you do some sort of like subtract one from the other or something like that?
Um,
Because you could do
hey, TradingView, if you guys are watching, someone that's working at TradingView is watching. We need we need data per day, not cumulative. Data per day would be useful because then you can actually see. I guess we can write a formula and subtract, you know, the
previous
prior, everything prior than the not day.
Yeah, I mean it's basically a derivative of this chart, so
Yeah.
that's what you want. Is there a way to do a derivative? I don't know.
I mean, here's US.
Well, I mean, it's going from 0 to 240. So it would be interesting to find out. Yeah, I want to see the recovered chart. I think that one's probably going to tell you a little bit better what's you know, who's being infected and things like that.
Okay, recovered. I want to see recovered China. That's the thing. Can you trust Chinese numbers?
Well, I don't know if you could trust any of these numbers, to be honest, because they have all like measurement bias and all this other stuff. But I mean recovered total.
Recovered total.
Total. Yeah. So you were just there. It's below the Spanish flag on the right. Yeah. Go down. No, that's one
right there.
Yeah. So it's again, starting to ramp up. So 87,256 have recovered. Of course, there's probably a lot more that have, but you know they were asymptomatic or whatever. So it's hard to say. Kind of crazy. All the you could see how it really was near zero, like even like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Hey, someone had an idea.
There's a division. Oh, okay. There you go. You can do that. Oh, wow.
This is interesting.
Yeah, that is very interesting. It looks like it's flattened out more or less.
So this is the number of dead divided by the number of recovered. And it's not looking good right now, right? Because if it's increasing, that means the number of people that are dying is starting to escalate versus the number of people that are recovered.
Right. At least according to the numbers that we have.
Right.
How about deaths over confirmed? Try that one.
That's not good either. So
yeah, that apparently more deaths per. Although you know it should really be. It's probably lagging. Although yeah, it's hard to say. But that's another one that you should be able to do some technical analysis on it at some point.
So I think these are. Yeah, someone is saying that 26 people per day are now dying, per hour are dying in Italy, which seems like a...
Well, so why don't you do deaths in Italy over confirmed in Italy? That'll probably give us like a
I think Italy's numbers are probably better than Chinese numbers. Okay, let's try that. So what are we looking at? So
deaths Italy, deaths IT over confirmed IT. So on the left, yeah. Deaths IT.
Italian flag.
No, it was up there. It's like the 4th row, right below US. Okay. Yeah.
So
deaths Italy divided by
confirmed or divided by recovered?
Or I don't think they have recovered, so just do confirmed. There you go.
Is nobody recovering in Italy?
Press enter.
Okay, so it's still rising. So that means the number that are dying are increasing greater than the number of those that are that are recovering.
But it looks like it's starting to flatten out, though. It used to like.
I don't know about that.
All right, it's not as steep in the last 7 days than the previous 7.
That's true. Yeah, I think we should keep an eye on this.
Yeah.
Wish I knew what these numbers actually were.
Well, I mean, it's you can look at the individual numbers. The deaths are in the thousands, I think.
Yeah.
The confirmed is in probably in the tens of thousands at least. So I mean, you're looking at it's weird because like like the confirmed numbers are just like the ones that have it, but there may be a lot more people that have had it but are asymptomatic or they haven't been tested or whatever. So but the deaths are certain and the confirmed are not. So it's kind of a weird situation.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on this. We'll keep an eye on Italy and see when that turns. And clearly there wasn't that much data earlier.
Uh-huh. And then first piece of data. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Giacomo will have more insight into these numbers because he's closer to the ground there.
Well. So for the US, it would be
that's over confirmed, yeah.
Deaths. That's rising unreasonably steep here.
Well, I mean, it's from a very small number to another relatively small number. So yeah.
And we're gonna look at confirmed in the US. Hey, look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. So people in the US are not dying that fast as they're getting confirmed. But also we got hit late, right? So like first it takes like several weeks before you even have symptoms. Then you're going to be sick for a while. So this thing could, flip over because those that are sick that are confirmed could potentially die later.
Well, what's weird is that the curves should relatively be the same, adjusted for the age of the population or something, but they look completely different. Like this one and the Italy one are like very, very different. So that tells me that the metrics that both countries are using are probably very different, or the way they're measuring it, and that could probably be a big part of what it is. I mean, you could probably do the same thing with like South Korea. I bet you'd see like that will probably give us a better idea of which curve is actually more accurate. So you'd have to scroll down. There's the South Korean flag. Confirmed, we have confirmed. I don't think we have that many deaths. So it'll probably be a fairly flat one. You can look up COVID-19 deaths and then type Korea, something like that.
Is it
-19?
How come I don't see? Okay, -19. No, that way.
Or I mean, they're all named deaths underscore and then whatever. So try deaths.
Why am I not seeing South Korea? Oh, there it is, Korea.
But that's only the confirmed number. We don't see the other one.
They don't
try
have
deaths. Try deaths underscore KR divided by confirmed underscore KR. You might have to just type that in.
Yeah, there it is.
Yes. Okay. Divided by confirmed underscore KR. Yeah, there you go. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, still rising.
Huh.
Yeah,
So
US is
they're not.
falling. We'll see if
Uh,
it's rising later because see, it was falling right here as well.
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know how like what the numbers were back then because that's the end of February. I don't think they had much data at all back then. But yeah, it'd be like it's interesting because it goes from zero for both numbers probably, and then
Well, it probably goes for zero for one number, right? Because like no one like dies yet. So it's a
Mhm.
zero divided by whatever, a million confirmed, it doesn't matter, right? So until
Yeah.
there is a reported death, and not to mention that a lot of people get pneumonia because of this. And if you rule that you died from pneumonia, they don't necessarily rule that you died from corona that gave you pneumonia.
Well, I depends on the country. I think in Italy they'll count that as corona, but in other places they might not.
Oh, by the way,
So
fake Zoom is now a $20 stock. Jesus Christ. Look at this. It went to
it
60.
wicked. Clearly, some people that are completely uninformed.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. Like I've been talking about this since before uh like the Zoom IPO. I'm like an idiot that I didn't buy this garbage.
Hmm.
Like,
Well, you're also an idiot for not investing in ICOs. So, I mean,
look
that's
at
kind
this.
of that's essentially what you're looking at here.
Stupidity has no bound. This is this is a stock that was worth a penny for 10 years, less than a penny. And it just happens to have the ZOOM ticker that everyone's confusing with the company Zoom, which we're using right now.
Yep. This is
So Zoom also went up nicely. Um,
well, that makes sense. I mean,
right.
I've used Zoom like 4 times this week already. So
This is insane. This
yes, it
is
is.
up 2,000% since February.
Wow, those are like Bitcoin numbers. Dang.
Since right there, since February 1st, it's up. Jeez. 2,700%. Wow. Wow. I don't know what to say. All right, guys. I think I can leave it here, but please support by using the affiliate codes. If you're going to be trading, because you got time on your hands now, please check out the exchanges, TradingView, which I'm using, the Embly card. This is my Bitcoin debit card, Jimmy. I was using it in South Africa. It actually helped out a lot because my American Express wasn't being taken everywhere. So this was actually very, very useful.
There you go.
And of course, Jimmy Song, should I go to your website?
Yeah. Programmingbitcoin.com. You're stuck at home, you have nothing to do, you want to learn some programming on Bitcoin, you can buy my book. You can also give the other book, the Little Bitcoin book, to any people that are getting curious. I am hearing reports of people asking about Bitcoin at least, and this is a great way to introduce them. Yeah, lots of different things going on, and hopefully you're using this time wisely instead of just watching doom porn on the news or something.
All right, guys. That's pretty much it for us. Thank you for hanging out. This has been the start. This is my day 1 of quarantine isolation. We'll see how long I stay in this bunker, and we take it from there. Tomorrow, around 9 a.m. Eastern, I believe, Giacomo Zucco is coming on. If Jimmy's available, maybe he'll join us, and we'll try to bring you some shows. I'm talking to the law guys now, and girl and ladies, and we're going to try and bring you a law show soon. And I'm going to try to get back into trading while I'm here in isolation. All right. That's
Sounds
it for
good.
watching, and see you all on the next one. Jimmy, sign us off.
Fiat Delenda Est, this song is done.
Bye, guys.